Hello people, the version 3.5 special program just been shown and it's a pretty big deal because when they show new characters, the developer tends to put in some sneak peek of what the character should be able to provide you, the kind of things that they can help you with team building, and this is what we're gonna do to dissect what they showed. So first off, they give us some nice animation of Dehya, pretty standard, and the normal attack string is pretty cool. I like the uppercut the most, like I can really punch someone nuts up there and it should do a lot of damage. But of course, the main concern is with the amethyst skills. Now we've seen it's pretty big circle, and from what I've seen in this example, it looks about the same area as Albedo's version. Now there is a big difference because Albedo's version has a limitation, like it can be destroyed. Although you have low cooldown, when it's destroyed and you change to a main DPS that has to stay on field for a fixed duration, you are kind of screwed. But for Dehya, it's non-destructible. It can be a pros, it can be a cons, because I believe it has quite a massive cooldown. But it did show us that we can actually relocate it again, like in this example. So perhaps we can reallocate it to one or few times, I guess. But I've seen some example people mentioning maybe just one time at most. It will just put more emphasis on the strategic placement of your amethyst skills. That's the best guess I could give. Now the next thing is that this skill does have a coordinated attack, so we do have to see how big is the area of effect. I believe it's about this example, yes. Now when we look into it, it has the same length. I wouldn't say exactly same, but it does look like it has the same length as Raiden Shogun's amethyst skill as well. And the width wise I'm not too sure, but if we know anything about Hyper Bloom Raiden Shogun, it's pretty damn good. The only problem is it does seems to have a slower frequency. So with that in mind, it means that she can potentially play Burgeon. If you have a slow dendro cores production rate, then you should be fine. They did show a few examples as what we came here for, which is like in terms of like Cryo team or even Hydro teams, helping them to trigger reactions. But the example they shown seems to shows that she's going to be the one triggering the reaction. Like for this example, they put for some Pyro Aura thanks to Dehya. Then we got Ganyu trying to do Melt, and the first shot, I believe it did. Now the second one is a bit different. The second one didn't exactly trigger Melt for Ganyu. Maybe it did for the first hit, but the second hit, Dehya is the one triggering the Melt. So in that instance, it might be the purpose for what you're trying to look for, because you want to use Dehya to help your Cryo character to do Melt. Then it might not be the answer for you. Now this is especially true if you have a really strong Cryo applicator like Ayaka. Then there might be some problem, but you can also probably use Ayaka burst, then use Dehya's burst afterwards. We shall see how well does that goes. Now the second example they showed is with Child as a Hydro application. Now we see that Dehya is the one doing Vaporize here, so Dehya is going to be the one doing the reaction, so it might not be ideal if that's not what you're trying to pursue. So we got another example, which is Burgeon, and I think Burgeon might be the one for her, but it does have to look out for the dendro core production you're doing.
In a tough spot.
Like we do know there's a limitation of each instance being 2 at max, so ideally you still you have to look at how much dendro cores you're producing in order to justify using this.
Don't worry too much. There's a limit
Like look
to the
into
amount
this.
of damage that Dehya can take for her teammates. Besides, when her own
Like we can see that from the very back, there's like 3 dendro cores.
she can
Then we can see that her coordinated attack managed to trigger all of them, so that's pretty nice.
also rely on her own.
But the next
passive
example, we
talent to
can see
recover
that
HP.
she can like pop off a lot of dendro cores, and if you could produce too much dendro cores, it's not going to be too efficient, and it might be a concern. So I'm looking to test if we mix in like Cookie Shinobu so that we can trigger both Hyper Bloom and Burgeon to maximize the dendro core usage at its maximum capacity, and shall see if that's going to make the situation even stronger. Now the last thing they shown us is with her burst.
While in this state, Dehya
It
will
looks
use her
super
fists
amazing,
to
and I
unleash
think
quick
that
attacks
is
on her
about like
opponents,
10
dealing
hits that they
considerable
managed to
pyro
trigger
damage.
before they do the rider kick. Kamen Rider reference, I suppose, but 10 hits is quite a big deal. Like, if you assume just 100% scaling damage, in total you would have already done 1000%. We shall see if this is if all this add up to make it a big number, like satisfactory for us to be convinced that it's pretty good. And other than that, that's pretty much it. They even show
When
that
the skill
she managed to bring back the Amethyst skill from whatever position it is to the current position, and that's the effect of using her burst. Now this actually does grant us a time extension of the Amethyst skills, and I think best use for her is really just Virgin. But for this too, if she does decent damage, maybe with a constellation, perhaps it is possible to use her in this scenario. Other than that, tell me what you think about what you see about Dehya. Test her truly in difficult situation, then we can truly see her potential. Otherwise, this is what we just saw from the special program.